Hey, how's it going everyone? MLT Magic Tricks here. So in this video, I'm going to be performing and then teaching you this very cool prediction style card trick that has a powerful end effect. So make sure you stick around to learn this one. But before we get into the performance, if you are new here to the channel, make sure you subscribe with those post notifications on for more card and magic trick performance and tutorial videos like this one. And also I did just launch an Amazon store that has a collection of all the decks I use in my videos and also some magic accessories and different magic tricks. So the link will be in the description to that. So make sure you check it out if you are interested. And now let's get right into this performance. Okay, so for this trick, we are going to be using a small portion of cards from the deck. And I'm going to begin just by giving these cards some cuts and mixing them up a little bit. And you guys have also noticed this white piece of paper I have on the table. This is my prediction, and we will get to that later in the trick. But for now, I would have my spectator cut a small portion of cards from the top of this packet. So let's say they cut this amount right here. And from here, the magician would turn around and ask the spectator to count how many cards they cut. So my spectator would just count these cards to themselves. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards, and the magician would ask the spectator to place these cards in their pocket. Just keep them off to the side for now. At this point, the magician is going to deal 10 cards off from the pack that we have onto the table. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And at this point, I would ask the spectator to take out the cards that they, cut at the start of the trick. I would ask my spectator how many cards they have. They would say 7. We can just place their cards out right here. We do have 7 cards, and keep in mind my spectator did have a free choice as to the amount of cards they wanted to cut from the start. Now, my spectator is going to generate a selection using this number. So I dealt 10 cards onto the table, and I would ask my spectator now to start at this point on the cards that we have and just go over 7. So I would have them count off 7, and then the next card will be their selection. So here's what I mean by that. This is what my spectator would do. They would count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then the next card right here, this is going to be their selection. So in this case, their card is the King of Hearts. Now keep in mind, this is a random card because my spectator, obviously did have a free selection of the amount of cards they cut, and that would have changed the number and then therefore changed their selection. So this is a random generated card, in this case, the King of Hearts. And you guys have noticed this prediction that I mentioned at the start of the trick. It's been in your sight the entire time. And check out the card that I predicted you would choose right here, the King of Hearts. Now guys, that is pretty good, but to top off this card trick, wouldn't it be absolutely impossible if the card that you chose was the only red card out of an entire black pack of cards just like this? So guys, that is the trick. If you want to learn how to perform this one, definitely stick around for the tutorial. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed that performance. Credit to Carl Foles for this effect. And now let's get right into the tutorial. So you're going to start off by taking out 20 cards from the deck, and you are going to make sure all of these cards have the same colored suit. So I just chose 20 cards with black colored suits. And then your one card that's going to be your prediction is going to be the opposite color. So in this case, a red colored suit. And this can be any card. I just chose the King of Hearts. And you guys also can have, 20 red cards here, and then this card would be a black suit. So just keep that in mind. You can do it either way. And at this point, you're going to get this card, the one card that's different from the rest. This is going to be your prediction. So I just wrote, you will choose the King of Hearts on a piece of paper. This is how I indicated my prediction. You guys can do it any way you want to. At this point, this card, your prediction card, the one that's going to be your ultimate spectator selection, this needs to be in the 10th position from the top. So you're going to count off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Place the card in the 10th position there, and you're good to go. This is your only setup. Once the card that is the opposite color, in this case, the red card here, the King of Hearts, is in the 10th position, you are good to go. So you're going to go up to your spectator. You can start off by just doing some false cuts here with the small portion if you want to. You obviously do not have to. It just makes it seem like you're mixing up the cards, but in reality, you're keeping your order. From here, you can tell your spectator that they are going to cut a small portion of cards from the top of this pack. And make note to your spectator you're not using a full deck. Tell them if you're using a small portion of cards, just so they don't get suspicious. And you can make mention of your prediction here that you will get to later in the trick. Your spectator cuts a small portion, and it's very important here that they do not cut more than 9 cards, because if they cut more than 9, they will include that King of Hearts as part of their pile here, and the trick won't work. So make sure they cut a small portion. They can choose one card, in fact, but it is very important that you tell them to cut only a small portion. So let's say they cut this amount of cards here, and if they do cut a lot of cards, you can, you'll be able to tell, and you'll tell them to recut just so they have less than 10, because 9 is the max. From here, you can turn around, you can ask your spectator to count how many cards they have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're going to tell your spectator to memorize that number and place the card just in their pocket or off to the side. So at this point, your spectator has memorized, how many cards that they have. If they forget, they can obviously recount later. From here, this is what you're going to do. So you're going to take the cards here, and you're going to deal them onto the table. You're going to deal 10 cards from the remaining pack that you have. And if you start going left to right, make sure you keep note of that. And also, if you start right to left, make sure you remember that. And I'll explain why in a second. So I'm going to go ahead and start dealing from left to right. I'm going to deal 10 cards here, one after another. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You can place the remaining cards right here on the table. At this point, you're going to tell your spectator to take out the cards that they had in their pocket, and you are going to ask them how many cards they had. They will give you their number. In this case, we had 5. You can just spread them out here onto the table. Now you're going to explain to your spectator that this number of cards they have is going to help them generate a selection, and here's how they're going to do that. So whatever number they had, you're going to tell them to count over from the cards that you dealt onto the table, and it is very important where they start. So if you started dealing the cards from left to right, your spectator is going to start counting from the opposite side. So they're going to start counting from right to left. And here is why that is important, because if they start counting from right to left, which is what they're supposed to, if you started dealing from left to right, they're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or whatever number they had there, and you're going to tell them that the next card is going to be their selection. And every single time, the next card will be that King of Hearts, or whatever card that is your prediction, or whatever card you had in the 10th position to start. So remember, I've started here left to right. You're going to tell your spectator they're going to count over starting on the other end here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The next card over, that is going to be their selection, and it's going to be that King of Hearts. You can have them turn it over, and then as your spectator, once you turn this card over, you start collecting all the cards here and place them on top of the cards that you have on the table. Show them that you correctly predicted their card. They will be blown away. And then to cap off this trick for an even more impossible ending, sort of like a double end effect here, you're going to show them that the card that they ended on was the only red suited card out of all the cards that you had, and you'll show that all these are black suited cards, and they will be completely confused that they somehow ended on their selection was a red card, but in reality you did that force. So make sure you guys are keeping track of when you deal those 10 cards onto the table, which way you start. Then you're going to have your spectator start counting the opposite way, and they are going to count the number of cards that they had here, and then the next one over the card after their number is going to be their selection, and you will be forcing this card onto your spectator, and it will match your prediction. So that is going to wrap it up. Definitely check out the Amazon page that I launched if you're interested in buying decks that I use. For example, this is the Neil Patrick Harris Theory 11 deck. It is on there, so if you guys are interested, that is where to find it. Now, that's going to wrap it up. Thank you for watching this video. I will see you all in my next one. Peace out.